George Gleig had seen thousands of soldiers in battle, but he had never seen any perform more disgracefully than the Americans assigned to defend Washington in the summer of 1814. "No troops could behave worse than they did," wrote Gleig, an officer with a British force attacking the American capital. "The skirmishers were driven in as soon as attacked. The first line gave way without offering the slightest resistance, and the left of the main body was broken within half an hour after it was seriously engaged." The British hadn't dreamed that their assault would proceed so swiftly. They had barely engaged the defenders before the path to the city lay wide open. The British commander, General Robert Ross, sent a flag of truce from the edge of Washington, but the bearer of the flag was fired upon from a window of a house, and his horse was killed beneath him. You will easily believe that conduct so unjustifiable, so direct a breach of the law of nations, roused the indignation of every individual, from the general himself down to the private soldier, George Gleig continued. All thoughts of accommodation were instantly laid aside. The troops advanced forthwith into the town, and having first put to the sword all who were found in the house from which the shots were fired and reduced it to ashes, they proceeded without a moment's delay to burn and destroy everything in the most distant degree connected with the government. In this general devastation were included the Senate House, the Capitol, the President's Place, an extensive dockyard and arsenal, barracks for 2,000 or 3,000 men, several large storehouses filled with naval and military stores, some hundreds of cannon of different descriptions, and nearly 20,000 stand of small arms. A spirit of righteous retribution moved the British in their sack of Washington, for earlier in the war American troops had gratuitously torched British government buildings in York, Canada. All this was as it should be, George Gleig said of the British reprisal, and had the arm of vengeance been extended no farther, there would not have been room given for so much as a whisper of disapprobation. But unfortunately it did not stop here. A noble library, several printing offices, and all the national archives were likewise committed to the flames, which, though no doubt the property of government, might better have been spared. Years later, Gleig recalled the awesome spectacle of Washington afire. Night was falling as the last of the British regiments marched into the city. The blazing of houses, ships, and stores, the report of exploding magazines, and the crash of falling roofs informed them, as they proceeded, of what was going forward. You can conceive nothing finer than the sight which met them as they drew near to the town. The sky was brilliantly illumined by the different conflagrations, and a dark red light was thrown upon the road, sufficient to permit each man to view distinctly his comrade's face. Except the burning of St. Sebastian's, in Spain during the Peninsular War, I do not recollect to have witnessed at any period of my life a scene more striking or more sublime. The burning of Washington made Henry Clay look a fool. He had spearheaded the campaign in Congress in favor of the war against Britain and predicted a rapid victory. His drum-beating had started as soon as he entered the House of Representatives in 1811, when he earned the unprecedented, and never repeated, distinction of being made Speaker of the House on his first day in the chamber. American grievances against Britain dated to the Revolutionary War. Britain had been slow to honor the treaty that ended that war, retaining posts near the Great Lakes, obstructing American commerce, and generally according the United States little of the respect due the independent nation America had become. The troubles escalated when war broke out between Britain and France in the early 1790s. American merchants and ship owners argued that they ought to be able to trade with both countries, since America was a neutral. But neither Britain nor France bought the argument, even as each continued to purchase the goods the Americans were selling, while trying to prevent the other from doing so. British ships seized American vessels bound for France and confiscated their cargoes. French seized American ships bound for Britain.